We are back here on the MMA Report. It's John Pollock with you. Coming up this Sunday night, the UFC is running Halifax, Nova Scotia, and in middleweight action, it is going to feature Hector Lombard taking on the man that joins us now from Halifax. Johny Hendricks is with us. Johnny, how are you enjoying Halifax thus far?
You know, I'm enjoying it. It's very nice. I cannot complain. The people are great. You know, Canada has always been great to me. You know, I love snow, so it works out.
Coming off of the Neil Magny fight, was this a situation where you wanted to get back in there as soon as possible? Tell us a bit about the process of how quickly this fight came together for you.
You know what? It came together in like a week and a half, I think, and if that long. And because realistically, I knew I'm not cutting as much weight, so it's not as hard, right? And so I can just go in there, you know, 85, you know, if I can fight 4 times a year, that wouldn't be hard on me. You know, it just depends on the fight and, you know, do I get banged up or whatever. But, you know, that's sort of where my head's at is to grow and to do that. So whenever they, you know, before they would say, hey, you have could you take a fight in 4 weeks? I wouldn't be able to unless we had to move it up. You know what I mean? Move up the weight because I cut that much weight. Now that I don't have to worry about that, you know, fights can happen. I can be ready for, you know, like, let's say there's a fight in Dallas, right? And there's some 85-pounders on there. Well, I'll train sort of to try to get ready for that just in case somebody falls out.
Has this week for you, has it been dramatically different than some of your past fights where, you know, for a lot of fighters, they'll say the weight cut suddenly becomes, that's the biggest thing of fight week, and the actual fight almost becomes secondary. Is this a dramatically different experience this week for you?
Yes, 100%. You're right on that. It became all about the fight, not about the weight.
Right. And how are you feeling right now? Are you at a weight where you are, you know, there's no problems ahead of Saturday? I mean, how is your body adjusted to this new weight class that you felt?
It's done very well. You know, I hit 6 over last night. Not really trying. We didn't, you know, we only pushed a little bit, nothing hard, nothing crazy. And we hit 6 over. Tonight we're going to try to hit for 3 over.
So you're well within comfortable distance where you would want to be at this point.
Yes. You know, realistically, I could be at 200 eating and drinking everything I want. You know, I'm at 196 right now, and I ate breakfast. I drank 3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds so far today. It's just one of those things that it's a different feeling. You know, you're losing weight in a sense, but it's a comfortable weight loss.
I want to go back to last July after your fight at UFC 200, and I don't know if you remember this interview, but you did a post-fight interview with Megan O'Leary, and I thought it was one of the most honest assessments a fighter has had. I mean, you were very down on yourself that night. I mean, you called your performance pathetic. You gave your grade a D. It was definitely like you were very critical of that performance. What was it that, did you go back and watch that fight? How did you prepare for Neil Magny after that performance where, by your own admission, you were your own biggest critic afterwards?
You know, and that's the thing as well. I'm always going to be.
Yeah.
I don't need people on the internet or news reporters to be my critic. You know, and that's something I've learned through wrestling all my life is, you know, I don't need to hear it from somebody else. I'll tell myself, you sucked. And I really believe that most of it is because, you know, going in the first round, you feel good. By the second round, you're there. By the third round, you're not there. You're trying to get through the match. You know what I mean? Or the last 5 minutes of the fight. That's really what 70 became for me. Even with the Neil Magny, you know, you're sitting there, you're fighting, and you're just going, oh my gosh, I still have 2 more of these. And then you push yourself, but there's only so far you can push yourself before your body just starts crumbling. And, you know, I have a feeling that I'm going to carry that over to 85 though too. You know, if I think I'm getting tired, I'll be like, you're not tired. You know what tired really feels like, and drained. I think that's only going to help me as a fighter as I'm moved up.
Is it important for you? Maybe a better question is, after the year you had in 2016, did you ever enlist in a sports psychologist to maybe deal with, whatever you were going through? Because some fighters, they can really get wrapped up when there is a streak and you're so focused on the win that it kind of just blurs away from this isolated performance. I have to perform at my best. I know I can beat this person, and there's some kind of barrier to get over with. Is that any kind of issues that you have dealt with over the last few fights?
No. Realistically, it was never about my opponent. It was always about, hey, if the weight cut goes good, I'll win. That's
right.
Really where my head was at. It's always been that way. If the weight cut goes good, I'm going to win. But in 2016, the only difference is that we don't have IBs anymore.
Right.
And so, before, you could do I was doing an interview not too long ago. I said, go cut, or you know what? Just go work out. Go work out for 2 hours. Try to blow your muscles out. Do whatever you need to do. Run for 45 minutes. Hit the weights. Whatever you can do, push yourself to the limits, and then go get an IV. And after an IV, you felt like you didn't, go to sleep, get an IV, go to home, rest, sleep. The next morning, you're going to wake up going, wow, I feel amazing. After what I just went through, I feel amazing. But I get, and that's where I also say I get what USADA's doing with no IVs. There's a lot of things you can mask, right? There's a lot of ways to cheat a drug system. So I get that aspect of it as well.
When the main event for this card, it was originally going to be Junior Dos Santos in this main event against Stefan Struve. When that fight fell apart, did they ever approach you about this becoming a 5-round fight and becoming the main event, or was this always going to be a 3-round fight?
No. I think it was always going to be a 3-round fight, right? I don't think that they talked to me about a 5-round fight. All I knew is that realistically, it didn't matter if it was a 5 or a 3. I know I can get in shape for a 5-round fight. 3 is a little easier, but it didn't really matter if it was going to be a 5 or a 3 to me.
What are some of the aspects of Hector Lombard's game that you focused on the most for this particular fight? I mean, this is somebody that a difficult opponent at either weight class. I mean, someone that as well has fought at welterweight. Was he on your radar at all when you were still fighting at 170?
Yeah, he was. I thought I was going to have to fight him at 170. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that's going to be, he's very powerful. He's going to come out. He's going to try to, the best way I can explain, he's going to try to bully you, meaning that he's going to be trying to pressure you, push you, do things to get his game offensive. The only thing is that I'm a bully too when it comes to that, and I used to be great at it. And this fight is going to show that I can still be that, because, that now that I have the energy to put forth the energy to continue to do that, I have.
Final thing here, Johnny, before we let you go, and thanks so much for this time. Is it at all, I don't want to say amusing, but maybe even frustrating for you that here it is, the week of Johny Hendricks' first fight at 185 pounds, and who is on the verge of returning to the UFC but the guy, George St. Pierre? I mean, did you just have to have a laugh at the timing of all of this?
You know what? No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just know that he's thinking about 85 too, and I hope that he is. So that way I can go out there, do what I need to do with Hector, and then do a rematch with GSP.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I think that there is no fight that has more interest than this one. It's Johny Hendricks' debut at middleweight, taking on Hector Lombard. It goes down Sunday night in Halifax, 9 Eastern on FS1 in the U.S., TSN up here in Canada. Johnny, all the best going into this weekend. We'll be watching with great interest.
Hey, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Johnny.